This series begins by showing a beautiful woman named Qin Shi, a skilled lawyer who often handles domestic cases. At that time, Qin Shi was helping to finalize the divorce of her sister-in-law, Ren Mei, from her brother, Qin Wei, because her brother was caught hiding another woman in the hotel closet. Qin Shi then brought Wen and Mei together to finalize their divorce, but neither of them wanted the divorce, so Qin Shi gave them time to think before she left the place. Meanwhile, Yang Hua was being interrogated by Lin Yan, his mother, because he had rejected many women, even though she had found many suitable women for him, because she wanted her son to get married soon. Not liking being lectured, Yang Hua chose to go to his room to trade stocks because he was only focused on playing the stock market and being with his turtle. Lin Yan, frustrated, finally forced him to meet a woman named Li Dai, and if the blind date did not work out, he had to move out of the house. Switching to Qin Shi, she worked at the Cheng and Hui law firm, which required all employees to be married. Because she wanted to advance her career and become closer to her boss, Cheng and Hui, she had no choice but to pretend to be married. This lie originated from her teacher, Bian Jing, who said that Qin Shi was married. At that time, Qin Shi couldn't refute her teacher's words in front of Yi Hui, especially since she really wanted the job. So she agreed with Bian Jing's statement and placed a fake family photo on her desk. Unexpectedly, the face of Qin Shi's fake husband in the photo was Yang Hua. Sometime later, Qin Shi attended Yi Hui's wedding anniversary party, and Yi Hui intended to introduce Qin Shi to the chairman of the Women's Business Association, Lan Xiaoting, so that she could build a good relationship with Xiaoting, who could appoint their law firm to handle various corporate legal cases. Yi Hui also mentioned a rumor that Xiaoting did not like to socialize with single or divorced women and said that if Qin Shi managed to win Xiaoting's favor, she would promote Qin Shi. After Yi Hui introduced Qin Shi to Xiaoting, Qin Shi tried to compliment Xiaoting and make a good impression. At the same time, Yang Hua was also at the party to fulfill Lin Yan's request for him to meet lawyer Li Dai, but Yi Hui saw him and called him, causing Yang Hua to be confused because he did not recognize her. Yi Hui then brought Yang Hua to meet Qin Shi, and Qin Shi was very surprised to see her fake husband in front of her. To save her career, Qin Shi, having no other choice, immediately kissed Yang Hua in public so that no one would suspect their relationship. After that, Qin Shi pulled Yang Hua out of the party room. In a separate room, Qin Shi introduced herself to Yang Hua and explained what had happened, causing Yang Hua to be upset and conclude that she was using him for her career. As a result, she tried to negotiate with Yang Hua, who demanded a divorce, and she reluctantly agreed, asking for 2 to 3 months to do it. However, Yang Hua refused and asked for it to be resolved within 3 days. If Qin Shi did not agree, he would reveal her marriage secret to her colleagues and boss. Qin Shi finally agreed to Yang Hua's request. Therefore, he wrote their agreement on a piece of paper, and Qin Shi added a clause that he should not come to her office and would be her fake husband for those 3 days. If he violated it, she would sue for damages. After agreeing to the terms, they returned to the party as a married couple. When Yang Hua returned home, he saw his belongings and turtle outside the door because Lin Yan had kicked him out for not succeeding in the blind date. He realized that it was due to the incident with Qin Shi, which prevented him from meeting Li Dai. Inside the house, secretly, Yang Hua's father, Yao Li, tried to help his son, but unfortunately, he was threatened by Lin Yan, so Yao Li could only send a message and some money for Yang Hua to stay elsewhere. With money from his father, Yang Hua stayed at an inn near his house, but he felt very uncomfortable with the inn's facilities, especially since he was a very perfectionistic person in all things. The next day, Yang Hua was seen exercising with his friend, Kai Liang, and at that time, Kai Liang asked Yang Hua to comply with Lin Yan's request to get married soon. Unfortunately, Yang Hua still did not have a job, even though he was a talented individual. Additionally, Yang Hua expressed that he wanted to be free from pressure at work, but still earn a high income. Meanwhile, at the office, Qin Shi was seen asking her colleague to find information about Zhao Danping, Xiaoting's nephew, who was an important client at the law firm. Some time ago, their law firm had defended Danping's ex-husband, which made Qin Shi worried about losing Xiaoting's trust. Fortunately, the issue was handled well after Qin Shi and Yi Hui met with Danping. At the inn, Yang Hua received a call from Lin Yan, asking him to find a job and then get married. At that moment, he remembered Qin Shi's fake marriage, so he tried to find a rental girlfriend. Back at the law firm, Yi Hui received information that Xiaoting had invited Qin Shi and her husband. Meanwhile, Yang Hua and Kailiang were at a cafe waiting for Yang Hua's rental girlfriend to arrive. Not long after, Qin Shi, who was Yang Hua's rental girlfriend, appeared, surprising him, leading him to decide to leave. Kailiang, not understanding the situation, could only follow Yang Hua. At the same time, Qin Shi followed the two of them and got into the car with them. A debate between Yang Hua and Qin Shi ensued, and he hurt her feelings with his harsh words. Qin Shi finally explained all the reasons why she had to pretend to be married before leaving them both. Without any remorse, Yang Hua did not chase after her to apologize, while Kailiang was puzzled by his friend's behavior towards Qin Shi. Upon returning to the inn, unexpectedly, Yang Hua called Qin Shi to apologize and invited her to meet again. The next day, Qin Shi and Yang Hua met at a place where Yang Hua said he agreed to their fake marriage on the condition that Qin Shi had to be his girlfriend in front of his parents. Without hesitation, she agreed to this, and their contract would last for half a year. Sometime later, Yang Hua took Qin Shi to meet his parents, which made Lin Yin incredulous. When Yang Hua introduced her, Lin Yin was even more shocked because her son had brought home a woman 6 years older than him. Yang Hua then explained that after they got married, they would switch roles, with Qin Shi being the breadwinner while he would take care of the house. Upon hearing this, Lin Yin disapproved, but Yang Hua showed that he really liked Qin Shi. On the way home, he kept looking at her and started to admire her. On another occasion, before attending Xiaoting's banquet, Qin Shi gave Yang Hua a document about his fake identity as her husband. Upon arriving at the hotel, they started getting ready, and when Qin Shi asked Yang Hua for help with her dress zipper, he was mesmerized by her beauty, causing him to fall. After seeing that Yang Hua's outfit was not suitable for the party, she took him to buy a new suit. Not long after, when they were at the party, Yang Hua, who knew about Peng Dingfang, the chairman of the Magnolia Funding Foundation, dared to mingle and talk with Dingfang and his colleagues. Fearing their lie would be exposed, Qin Shi quickly introduced Yang Hua as her husband to Dingfang and the others. Unexpectedly, lawyer Lao Jin, Qin Shi's ex-boyfriend, came to the party. In the past, they had dated for 7 years and were about to get married, but the wedding was canceled because Jun Hui's mother did not approve of their relationship. Now, at the party, Jun Hui suddenly dragged Qin Shi into a room to talk. Fortunately, Yang Hua came and took her away from the place. Meanwhile, when Yu and Mei Mei were fighting, causing him to decide to divorce her. Because of this, Mei Mei became very hysterical, but he ignored her and walked away. At the party, Jun Hui and Qin Shi were eating at the same table when Yang Hua approached them and offered food to her. At that moment, Jun Hui commented that Yang Hua was unaware of his wife's preferences, as it turned out that Qin Shi had an allergic reaction to the food Yang Hua brought. Consequently, Jun Hui asked Yang Hua to get allergy medicine from the car. At the same time, Jun Hui was sitting alone at the hotel bar, reminiscing about his past with Qin Shi. Not long after, he saw Yang Hua passing by and called him over to chat. When Jun Hui talked about Qin Shi, Yang Hua managed to silence Jun Hui by expressing his deep love for her. Yang Hua then returned to the room but found Qin Shi already asleep and snoring, which made Yang Hua decide to sleep in the car. The next day, Qin Shi continued to help Mei Mei with her marital problems, especially after she saw her husband drunk and unconscious with several women. Meanwhile, Yang Hua returned home and was surprised because Lin Yin suddenly allowed him to have a relationship with Qin Shi, which puzzled Yao Li, considering her previous strong opposition to their son's romantic involvement. On the other hand, at the law firm, Qin Shi was still wondering why Jun Hui was at the party the night before. At the same time, Yang Hua contacted Qin Shi after she asked him to find out about Magnolia, which was going to cooperate with her law firm. She also asked Wu Fei to gather all information about Magnolia, unaware that Wu Fei, who knew Jun Hui, secretly contacted him after leaving Qin Shi's office. On another occasion, Qin Shi gathered with her two older brothers, Wen Bin and Wen Yu, but unfortunately, she did not get along with Wen Yu. When she was at home, Yang Hua came to retrieve his suitcase, which was at her house, and seeing her busy with Magnolia issues, he helped her, especially since he was very knowledgeable about financial matters. After everything was done, Yang Hua secretly took the opportunity to take a photo with the sleeping Qin Shi to use as proof for Lin Yin to truly believe in their relationship. Unfortunately, Qin Shi suddenly woke up, causing Yang Hua to pretend nothing had happened. Shortly after, Qin Shi invited Yang Hua to make a short video showing their affection to convince Lin Yin of their relationship. When Lin Yin saw the video, she was very surprised and didn't believe it. They then decided to live together to further convince Lin Yin of their relationship, and when Qin Shi went to work, Yang Hua, seeing her messy house, quickly tidied it up. At the law firm, Qin Shi informed Yi Hui about the issues Magnolia was facing and suggested canceling their collaboration because she did not want her law firm to suffer significant problems and losses. Yi Hui and Li Dai, who were Qin Shi's colleagues, seemed skeptical of the information Qin Shi provided, leading to a debate. Soon after, the truth was revealed, and Yi Hui believed the information given by Qin Shi and promptly contacted Xiao Ting, the leader at Magnolia, to cancel their collaboration. On the other hand, Yang Hua was contacted by Lin Yin, who pretended to support his relationship with Qin Shi while trying to arrange a blind date for her son. At the same time, Mei Mei came to Qin Shi's house and discovered that she had secretly been living with Yang Hua. When Qin Shi arrived and saw Mei Mei eating with Yang Hua, she panicked and quickly pulled him aside to ensure he hadn't said anything strange to Mei Mei. Afterward, they sat together. Then Qin Shi admitted that Yang Hua was her boyfriend, which made Mei Mei a bit upset because Qin Shi had hidden the relationship from her, even though they were close friends. Despite this, Mei Mei was very touched because she wanted to see Qin Shi happy and with a partner. Meanwhile, Wu Fei contacted Jun Hui to report that Qin Shi had asked about him regarding the Magnolia issue. Hearing about Qin Shi, Jun Hui remembered his memories of living with her in the house now occupied by Qin Shi. From the conversation between Jun Hui and Wu Fei, it was revealed that they were a couple. Switching to Yang Hua, he returned home and saw Qin Shi's house in a mess. At that moment, he accidentally saw her drunk, freshly showered, and wrapped in a towel, getting ready to work at night. Therefore, Yang Hua tried to make Qin Shi rest. Sometime later, after finishing his shower, Yang Hua saw Qin Shi sleepwalking and leaving the house, so he immediately pulled her into his arms. The next morning, Qin Shi woke up and was surprised to see Yang Hua sleeping in front of her bedroom door. During breakfast, Qin Shi accidentally pulled Yang Hua's pants while they were talking, making the situation awkward. At the same time, Lin Yin, wanting to know more about Qin Shi, tried to find out where she worked. Shortly after, when Qin Shi was working, Dan Ping came to the office to demand accountability for the decisions made by the Cheng and Hui law firm. Fortunately, the issue was resolved when Dan Ping, representing Magnolia, returned a sum of money to the law firm, making Qin Shi and Yi Hui happy. With this success, Yi Hui invited Qin Shi to attend a work event for Cheng and Hui, making Qin Shi happy because she had gained her boss's trust. Apparently, she was often rejected for jobs because she wasn't married, which led her to lie about her marital status. On the other hand, when Yu, who was about to divorce Mei Mei, delivered the divorce papers and returned all his assets to her. Meanwhile, at Yang Hua's family home, Yali was surprised to see his son return home just to pick up some clothes, especially since he did not agree with his son living with Qin Shi. Shortly after, Lin Yin managed to find the law firm where Qin Shi worked and insisted on meeting her. At the same time, Li Dai accidentally saw Lin Yin and started a conversation. During that time, Lin Yin asked about Qin Shi, and Li Dai spoke positively about her while trying to uncover the truth about Qin Shi's marriage to Yang Hua. Eventually, Lin Yin discovered that Qin Shi claimed to be married to Yang Hua. Not long after, Qin Shi arrived and invited Lin Yin to chat. Knowing Qin Shi's lie, Lin Yin was upset, but Qin Shi managed to convince her. When Yang Hua arrived, Qin Shi calmly explained her plan to marry her son, which left Lin Yin very surprised by this information. After Lin Yin was harsh with Qin Shi, Yang Hua carried Qin Shi to her office, impressing the employees with his romantic gesture. In Qin Shi's office, he also washed her feet while apologizing for his mother's behavior, making Qin Shi feel even more embarrassed. Outside the room, Li Dai continued trying to gather information about the truth of Qin Shi's and Yang Hua's marriage. At night, Yang Hua had dinner with his family to explain that he would live independently and no longer rely on his parents after seeing Qin Shi. Meanwhile, Wen Yu struggled with his life after the divorce, which he filed, causing him to be shunned by everyone and losing his wealth. At Qin Shi's house, she was waiting for Yang Hua, who came home drunk. At that time, Qin Shi asked him to accompany her to the law firm's event the next day. After Yang Hua took a shower, they continued their conversation. But suddenly he invited Qin Shi to rest in the bedroom, and still drunk, he admitted that he admired her beauty, making Qin Shi feel awkward. The next day, Yang Hua accompanied Qin Shi to the law firm's event, and they wore rings to cover up their lie. Upon arriving at the event, they were warmly welcomed, but it was clear that the attendees did not like them. Qin Shi then met Li Dai, who disliked her because she wanted to take Qin Shi's position as the prospective head of the department. Because of this, Qin Shi tried to remain calm in front of Li Dai. Shortly after, Qin Shi joined the men, while Yang Hua mingled with the women. He then approached Qin Shi, impressing her colleagues with his loving behavior towards her. At the same time, Li Dai suddenly called Yang Hua and said she could ruin Qin Shi's career by revealing his blind date with her. Without hesitation, Li Dai revealed this in front of Yi Hui, but Qin Shi explained that the blind date was arranged by Lin Yin, who did not like her as a daughter-in-law. On the other hand, the crimes committed by the Magnolia Company were finally revealed, prompting Jun Hui to act quickly to prevent Xiao Ting from fleeing abroad. After returning from the party, Yang Hua and Qin Shi discussed the Cheng and Hui law firm, which had been handling issues related to Magnolia. While talking, he also informed her that Lin Yin would visit their home to ensure that he would truly be happy with her. Hearing this, Qin Shi suddenly had an idea before Lin Yin arrived. A few days later, Lin Yin arrived at Qin Shi's house and inspected every detail of the room until she found a condom wrapper on the floor and a large quantity in the drawer, making Lin Yin angry and prompting her to leave the house quickly. Unexpectedly, this was part of Qin Shi's plan to ensure Lin Yin wouldn't stay long at her house. Turning to Mei Mei, who met with Qin Shi after receiving a call from Wei Weian, Wen Yu's mistress, who invited her to meet. During the meeting, Weian proudly flaunted Wen Yu's romantic behavior towards her and displayed their affection through her phone. Seeing this, Mei Mei remained calm and stated that she understood Weian's goal was to be with Wen Yu because she thought he had a lot of wealth, whereas all the wealth was under her ownership. Shortly after, Qin Shi, as Mei Mei's lawyer, arrived and revealed Weian's real identity as Yu Fenghe, humiliating her. Additionally, Mei Mei also slapped Weian in front of many people. When Weian returned home, she immediately kicked out Wen Yu, who was living with her, forcing him to return to his parents' home and complain about his misfortune to his mother, Xiao Li. Shortly after, Mei Mei arrived, and Wen Yu tried to persuade her not to divorce him, to which she agreed, and they returned home together. The next morning, at Qin Shi's house, Yang Hua, who had woken up earlier, prepared breakfast for them, and before she left, Yang Hua invited her to have dinner together. Shortly after, at the law firm, Qin Shi met with Li Dai, who belittled Yang Hua for not working. At the same time, Xiao Ting returned to the law firm, requesting them to be her lawyers to handle the problems Magnolia was facing. Seeing the complex issues entangling Magnolia, Qin Shi and others held a meeting and tried to refuse the case, which was large and involved many parties. After the meeting, Li Dai and Qin Shi asked their assistants to find out more about the case. At the same time, Yang Hua, who was exercising with Kailiang, mentioned his desire to move out of Qin Shi's house. However, Kailiang suggested that Yang Hua stay at her house and pay rent, as there was a possibility that they could develop a real romantic relationship. On another occasion, Yang Hua went shopping with Qin Shi, and unexpectedly, they ran into Wu Fei, who was shopping with Jun Hui. The four of them ended up dining together, but the situation became awkward when Qin Shi learned that Wu Fei was Jun Hui's fiancée. At the same time, Jun Hui reminisced about the beautiful moments he shared with Qin Shi when they were a couple. On the way home, Qin Shi remained silent in the car, making Yang Hua think that she was still upset about her ex-boyfriend being engaged and soon to be married. However, Yang Hua was wrong, as Qin Shi was actually thinking about the Magnolia case involving her ex-boyfriend. Meanwhile, Dan Ping panicked after not finding Xiao Ting in her room and immediately contacted Yi Hui, who then informed Li Dai and Qin Shi. Because of this, Wu Fei, who was having dinner with Jun Hui, mentioned her admiration for Qin Shi. Back with Yi Hui and the others, they tried to find out where Xiao Ting had gone, and security camera footage showed that she was not behaving like someone who wanted to do the unthinkable. From this information, Qin Shi and Yang Hua then searched for her at the airport, and Qin Shi eventually found Xiao Ting and immediately informed Yi Hui. At that moment, Xiao Ting confessed that she was waiting for her husband, who was supposed to come from abroad, but she was deceived by her husband, making her very sad. In the end, Qin Shi tried to comfort Xiao Ting and took her to meet Dan Ping. Shortly after, when Qin Shi and Yang Hua were in the elevator heading home, a tired Qin Shi leaned on his shoulder. Finally, when the elevator doors opened, Yang Hua was seen carrying a sleeping Qin Shi to her room. The next morning, Yang Hua prepared breakfast again, and as Qin Shi was about to leave for work, she told him that she allowed him to stay with her, but he had to clean her house in lieu of rent. At the same time, Mei Mei and Yu, who were now living together as a married couple, appeared very romantic. At the law firm, Hui assigned Qin Shi and Li Dai to handle the Magnolia Company case, prompting Qin Shi to immediately hold a meeting with her colleagues. Meanwhile, Hui also had a meeting with his team to gather information about the same case. Sometime later, at the hospital, Hua was seen visited his friend, who was one of Magnolia's fraud victims, and learned more about the company. Back to Qin Shi and Li Dai, they finally obtained information about the wealth owned by Magnolia's owners, which came from defrauding many people. At the same time, Wu Fei felt very sad because, after her encounter with Qin Shi at the shopping center, she felt as if Qin Shi was avoiding her. On the other hand, Qin Shi, Li Dai, and some of their colleagues continued to seek detailed information to investigate the Magnolia case. At that time, Hua called Qin Shi to tell her he would pick her up. Unfortunately, their call was cut off, and Hui then called her, expressing his desire to meet with her to discuss the Magnolia case. Therefore, Qin Shi headed to her car in the basement to meet Hui, but unexpectedly, she was confronted by two thugs who tried to attack her, causing her phone to fall just as she was on a call with Hua. Knowing this, Hui and Hua arrived to help her, and the police came to secure the situation. After that, the three of them left together, and Qin Shi decided to drive because Hua and Hui had been arguing earlier. During the journey, Hui and Qin Shi discussed the debts of the Magnolia Company. After the conversation ended and Hui got out, Qin Shi, feeling hungry, invited Hua to eat at a convenience store, where they helped each other treat their wounds from the attack in the Cheng and Hui law firm's basement. Apparently, during the attack, Hua also tried to protect her from someone who swung a jacket in Qin Shi's direction, and he didn't realize that he had hugged her. Meanwhile, Hui returned home to find Wu Fei waiting for him, having fallen asleep. When she woke up upon hearing him return, she was shocked to see him injured, so he explained the cause of his wounds. In her room, while Qin Shi tried to sleep, she kept dreaming about Hua. The next morning, Hua received a good morning message from Qin Shi, who had already prepared breakfast and left for work before he woke up, making him feel awkward. At the office, Hui called Li Dai and Qin Shi and asked them to drop the Magnolia case because it would cause major problems, informing them that Hui would handle the issue. Because of this, Qin Shi contacted Hua to ask his opinion on whether she should continue with the case or not, but he simply said that she needed his support, not an answer about the best choice. Therefore, he would support whatever decision Qin Shi made. With that support, she and Li Dai approached Xiaoting and Dan Ping to inform them that they were willing to be Xiaoting's personal lawyers. After the meeting, Qin Shi and Li Dai, who had agreed to work together to resolve the case, had lunch together. During that time, Li Dai revealed that she knew the truth about Qin Shi's marriage, showing a recording of Lin Yin saying that Qin Shi and Hua were not actually married, leaving her speechless. At home, Qin Shi told Hua about Li Dai discovering their secret, and he suggested to Qin Shi that they get married for real to resolve the issue. Sometime later, while Qin Shi was with her family, Qin Shi suddenly announced in front of everyone that she had a boyfriend, shocking everyone since she had been secretly dating. Meanwhile, Hua visited his parents to seek permission to marry Qin Shi, but Lin Yin did not approve of their relationship, although Yao Li supported his son's decision. Apparently, Lin Yin was still disappointed by Qin Shi's deception, so Hua defended Qin Shi, saying that he loved her deeply. At the same time, Qin Shi was seen interrogated by her parents for secretly dating. When Qin Shi and Hua returned home, they discussed Hua's proposed marriage plan. Since all the reasons did not show that he genuinely liked her, Qin Shi agreed to the plan, and Hua immediately began preparing the marriage agreement. Unfortunately, they needed approval and had to handle their marriage certificates before they could carry out the plan. Meanwhile, Magnolia held a meeting to elect a new chairman, and Xiaoting appointed Dan Ping to fill the position despite almost all shareholders rejecting the decision. Back to Qin Shi, who was surprised by the news at her office about an employee pretending to be married, making her anxious when she was summoned to Hui's office, who was angry for feeling deceived. At that moment, Qin Shi resigned herself to the punishment that would be given to her and regretted trusting Li Dai to keep the secret. Qin Shi then felt relieved when Hui revealed that the employee who lied was Qin Shi's colleague, Stephen. On another occasion, Qin Shi went to her parents' house to seek permission because she was going to get married, making her parents happy and supportive of speeding up her marriage. Unfortunately, when Qin Shi asked for the household registration book, Shaoli refused to give it because she wanted to know the man who would marry her daughter first. At the same time, Yang Hua, who was at his parents' house, also did not get the household registration book because Lin Yin did not approve of his relationship with Qin Shi and even barred him from entering. Fortunately, Yao Li offered to help Yang Hua obtain the book. At night, Yang Hua and Qin Shi lamented their difficulty in persuading their mothers, so she asked him to meet with Shaoli. Qin Shi also provided important information about her family that Yang Hua needed to learn. After dealing with Shaoli, they planned to persuade Lin Yin. The next day, Yang Hua told Kailiang about his wedding plans, and he was happy about the news. Kailiang also taught Yang Hua how to win over his mother-in-law. When Yang Hua practiced these tips, all of Kailiang's advice turned out to be contrary to the customs in Qin Shi's family. Therefore, Shaoli seemed displeased with him, especially after a drunken Yang Hua admitted that he was unemployed. However, after Yang Hua assured her that he would always support Qin Shi in everything, Shaoli eventually softened and gave the household registration book to Qin Shi. Meanwhile, Wu Fei finally discovered that Jun Hui and Qin Shi had been very close in the past, making her sad because he had deceived her. Elsewhere, Qin Shi was seen battling Jun Hui to get him to yield regarding the Magnolia case she was handling, with the condition that if she won the fight, he would concede. Unfortunately, she was defeated by him. At home, due to the fight, Qin Shi acted very spoiled toward Yang Hua during their meal together, claiming her hand was hurting, so he had to feed her. The next day, Qin Shi and Yang Hua persuaded Yi Hui and her husband to help find investors to assist Xiao Ting in resolving the problems at Magnolia. Unfortunately, Yi Hui was reluctant, especially after learning that Qin Shi had become Xiao Ting's personal lawyer. Because of this, Yang Hua tried to lighten the mood by explaining the benefits they could gain by helping Xiao Ting. After the meeting, Qin Shi, still very affectionate towards Yang Hua, praised him for his performance during their meeting with Yi Hui. As they exited the elevator, Qin Shi unexpectedly saw Xiao Ximing, who always requested proof of her marriage, prompting her to drag Yang Hua to hide because she didn't have the document yet. In their hiding spot, they stood very close, leading Yang Hua to almost kiss Qin Shi, but suddenly Yao Li called Yang Hua, asking them to meet him. A while later, Yang Hua and Qin Shi met Yao Li at a restaurant, and they were delighted when his father managed to obtain the household registration book for Yang Hua. That night, Qin Shi and Yang Hua kept staring at their marriage certificate. At that moment, she couldn't believe she was married, while Yang Hua commented on his appearance in the certificate photo. When Yang Hua received a message from Qin Shi, he suddenly imagined kissing her and the fine he would have to pay if he crossed the line, as stipulated in their marriage agreement. Therefore, Yang Hua just massaged Qin Shi's feet. A few days later, Dan Ping held a press conference to announce that Magnolia would take responsibility for all the issues. Yi Hui also attended, representing Cheng and Hui law firm, as she had successfully found an investor to help cover Magnolia's previous investor losses. At the law firm, Jun Hui had a meeting with Qin Shi to discuss the Magnolia case, and after the meeting, he encountered Yang Hua, who was very angry at him for causing Qin Shi pain after their fight. Sometime later, Qin Shi's and Yang Hua's families met, and had a heated debate because Qin Shi's family was upset that she would not receive a dowry, while Yang Hua's family insisted that Qin Shi didn't want one. Fortunately, the argument ended when Yao Li agreed to provide the dowry that Qin Shi needed. That night, Yang Hua drank with Kailiang until he was drunk and then called Qin Shi to say that he disliked Jun Hui and promised to make her happy because he loved her very much. After receiving the call, Qin Shi hurried to pick up Yang Hua, who suddenly hugged her when she arrived at the place. Before they left, Kailiang told Qin Shi that Yang Hua truly liked her. Upon arriving home, Qin Shi looked at Yang Hua as he slept, thinking about all his sweet words to her, and then kissed him on the cheek. Meanwhile, Wu Fei, who was with her father, met Yi Hui and took the opportunity to introduce her father, a director at another law firm, hoping to secure a position at her firm. The next day, Qin Shi was surprised to find that her office had been taken over by Wu Fei. At the same time, she received information that Ximing was looking for her, making her imagine being promoted to a partner with a very comfortable office. Unfortunately, although Qin Shi was promoted to partner, she was moved to a dirty office. During the break, Li Dai met with Qin Shi and revealed that she was planning to resign because the law firm had become unhealthy by giving Wu Fei an intern. Qin Shi's position just because her father was a director. Hearing this, Qin Shi tried to persuade Li Dai to continue working with her. Meanwhile, Jun Hui also joined the same law firm as Qin Shi, and they seemed not to get along well. While they were working, Yang Hua came to bring lunch for Qin Shi. From a distance, Jun Hui saw the affection Yang Hua and Qin Shi displayed. Shortly after, Li Dai invited Yang Hua to talk about his fake marriage and asked him to always support Qin Shi because, despite their occasional fights, she admired Qin Shi's courage and determination to become a great lawyer. At Mei Mei's office, when Yu, who made a mistake at work, tried to sweet-talk her to avoid punishment. He even offered to take care of the house while Mei Mei managed the company entirely. Hearing this, Mei Mei seemed pleased and agreed to her husband's proposal. The next day, while Qin Shi and Yang Hua were having breakfast together, they discussed their wedding reception. At the same time, Qin Shi gave a gift to Yang Hua, a turtle, so that his turtle would have a companion. On another occasion, Mei Mei, Qin Shi, Yang Hua, and their families were busy preparing for the wedding reception. Unfortunately, Mei Mei was very annoyed because Yang Hua's family wanted a very simple reception. Sometime later, Qin Shi tried on a wedding dress that made her look very beautiful, impressing everyone. At that moment, when Bin, Qin Shi's eldest brother, advised Yang Hua to always take care of and love his sister, which Yang Hua agreed to, leaving Qin Shi surprised at his words. That night, Qin Shi was very busy with a lot of work to finish, eventually falling asleep on the sofa. At the office, Jun Hui seemed annoyed with Qin Shi's work style and tried to make her aware of the rights and duties of a lawyer, emphasizing not to be easily exploited by her superiors. Hearing this, Qin Shi realized she needed to change her work approach. Therefore, she posted a message from Yang Hua that stated, "The world will treat you the way you treat yourself." Shortly after, at home, Qin Shi had prepared a thank you note for Yang Hua, hoping he would come to her room to talk. However, she was upset when he only gave her a file to help with her work. A few days later, Yang Hua and Qin Shi finally held their wedding reception, surprising her because their marriage had started from a lie. Seeing Qin Shi nervous, Yang Hua tried to calm her. After they officially became husband and wife, they kissed affectionately in front of everyone. After the reception, Yang Hua and Qin Shi returned home, where they looked very happy. At that moment, Qin Shi invited Yang Hua to do what makes newlyweds happiest, which opening the money given by their relatives. At the same time, Qin Shi saw a gift from Shaoli with a letter that made her cry. Yang Hua, seeing Qin Shi was sad, immediately hugged her to comfort her. The next morning, unexpectedly, they found themselves sleeping in the same bed, feeling awkward when they realized it. Yang Hua then said that he would take responsibility for what happened between them the previous night and asked her to date him because he truly loved her. Initially disbelieving, Qin Shi eventually realized Yang Hua's sincerity after he kissed her. When Yang Hua met with his parents, who had blessed his relationship with Qin Shi, they expressed their hope that he would soon give them grandchildren. Meanwhile, Qin Shi also met Shaoli, who informed her that she wanted to sell the house and divorce Qin Shi's father. When Qin Shi discussed this with her father, he revealed that the house they lived in belonged to his ex-wife, who had also helped him a lot, so he owed her. Because of this, Qin Shi brought her parents together, and Shaoli said she would pay off the debt. But when she asked her husband to move out, he disagreed, leading to another argument. While with Yang Hua, Qin Shi talked about her family problems and Shaoli, who wanted to move. Yang Hua then said that he would look for a job to buy a house for them to live in, while Qin Shi's old house could be occupied by her mother. Because of this, Qin Shi was touched by Yang Hua's attitude. Sometime later, Qin Shi had an important client, Ding Fong, who asked her to handle the issue of his daughter, Fong Fong, who wanted to create a prenuptial agreement with her fiancé, Chao Yirun, to ensure he wouldn't take advantage of her successful career. Wu Fei, who found out that Ding Fong's case was given to Qin Shi, became very upset, especially since it was her father who brought the client to the Cheng and Hui law firm. With her father's help, she managed to get the case assigned to Qin Shi, Jun Hui, and Wu Fei, much to Qin Shi's frustration. At that moment, Wu Fei also tried to get closer to Fong Fong to handle the case herself. Meanwhile, Yang Hua was trying to find a job and eventually got one through Kailiang. On another occasion, Qin Shi, while with Fong Fong, tried to gather information about Yirun, whom she described as a good man who always supported and cared for her. Additionally, Jun Hui and Wu Fei also found out that Yirun was a successful businessman. Shortly after, when Qin Shi had a meal with Yang Hua, She worried about him having to meet many people, even though he didn't like it. However, Yang Hua explained that he only disliked dealing with irrelevant people. Sometime later, during a meeting, Qin Shi argued with Wu Fei about their differing views on the case they were handling, causing an upset Wu Fei to leave the meeting. At Yang Hua's office, a female employee seemed to have a crush on him and pretended to fall in front of him, hoping he would help her. Unfortunately, her attempt failed as Yang Hua didn't let her fall. Therefore, Kaoyang tried to advise Yang Hua to be more aware of his surroundings, but Yang Hua ignored him. Back at Qin Shi's office, Qin Hui was seen standing in front of her door, surprising her and causing her to fall. It turned out that the reason Qin Hui came was to discuss his client's prenuptial agreement. After work, on his way home, Yang Hua received a call from Xiao Li, who wanted to visit their home. When Xiao Li and Yang Hua arrived home, he immediately contacted Qin Shi, making her smile as she read his message. Unfortunately, Qin Shi was still discussing a client with Qin Hui at that time, prompting him to immediately scold her for not focusing on his work. Shortly after, Yang Hua, who was with Xiao Li, learned that Qin Shi really liked pig brains and asked him to be able to cook the recipe. When Xiao Li finished cooking pig brains and asked Yang Hua to taste it, he didn't like the food, but he pretended to enjoy it in front of her so as not to offend his mother-in-law. After eating, Xiao Li also offered to take care of the house so that Yang Hua and Qin Shi could focus on their work. Back at the law firm, Qin Hui took the initiative to cover Qin Shi with a blanket while she was sleeping on the sofa due to exhaustion, and this was also seen by Yang Hua, who intended to pick her up. Therefore, he immediately woke her up to go home together. During the ride home, Yang Hua remained silent, and Qin Shi tried to explain the situation until he eventually forgave her. At the same time, Mei Mei was delighted by a romantic surprise from Wen Yu. When Yang Hua got home, he expressed his frustration with the Cheng and Hui law firm for exploiting Qin Shi because of her ambitious nature, but she, tired from work, did not want to argue about it. Not long after, Yang Hua, unable to sleep because he kept thinking about Qin Hui covering Qin Shi with a blanket. Because of this, he did something odd by making his two turtles race to determine who was smarter between him and Qin Hui. Unfortunately, before the race was finished, Qin Shi suddenly entered his room, so he quickly hid what he was doing. At that moment, she asked for Yang Hua's help, but he refused because he was jealous, even though he didn't admit it. The next day, at Yang Hua's office, he saw a man named Xiao Jinyang who knew about his past work failures. Meanwhile, Wu Fei was trying to win the favor of Fang Fang and Yiran to handle the prenuptial agreement case. Additionally, Qin Shi, with the help of her informant, had gathered various information about Iran. At the law firm, Wu Fei discussed Fang Fang and Iran with Qin Hui, saying that the couple seemed very happy. While hugging and kissing Qin Hui, she remarked that Fang Fang and Iran were true love, just like her and Qin Hui. After obtaining various information, Qin Shi met with Qin Hui and revealed that Iran was a man who relied solely on women. Qin Hui, examining the evidence, concluded that Iran indeed liked being with wealthy women, but according to his information, Iran already had a business. Meanwhile, Li Dai, Iran's lawyer, sought Qin Shi's opinion on the prenuptial agreement because she was a married woman. At that moment, Li Dai also provided a voice recording of Iran stating that he genuinely loved Fang Fang. At Yang Hua's office, he was checking the finances of an important client, and Kaoyang, aware of this, warned Yang Hua because he didn't want anything to happen to his friend. Back with Qin Shi and Li Dai having lunch together, where Li Dai mentioned that Iran would not be willing to sign the prenuptial agreement planned by Qin Shi and Qin Hui. However, Qin Shi did not believe this and would continue to persuade him. At night, after having dinner together, Yang Hua and Qin Shi appeared restless. Until Yang Hua finally went to Qin Shi's room, apologized for ignoring her out of jealousy. Hearing this, Qin Shi smiled and forgave him. They then talked about Iran, and Yang Hua agreed to help her by reviewing the data she had gathered. Meanwhile, Wu Fei and Qin Hui visited Fang Fang's house, and while Iran chatted with Qin Hui, he mentioned that the prenuptial agreement was not important, especially since he was fine and had his own wealth. Back to Yang Hua and Qin Shi, who were exchanging views about marriage. As he was explaining, she kept staring at him, so he then took her to the bedroom to sleep together. The next morning, Yang Hua woke up and prepared breakfast, but Qin Shi, acting spoiled, approached and hugged him. Similarly, when Qin Shi was brushing her teeth, Yang Hua approached and kissed her, making her flustered. At the office, Yang Hua informed Kailiang that the finances of Fang Yu, one of their clients, were problematic. However, Kailiang couldn't do anything because if their superiors, Hua Tao and Jian Yang, found out, they could both be fired. Meanwhile, Wu Fei saw a photo of Qin Hui covering the sleeping Qin Shi with a blanket, which made her very upset. At the same time, Qin Hui met with Yiren to give him a report on his problematic business, leaving Yiren speechless. At the office, when Wu Fei saw the sofa in Qin Hui's office, she remembered how attentive Qin Hui was to Qin Shi, which made her angry with him. Shortly after, Wu Fei showed the photos of Qin Hui to Yi Hui, and since she had received many benefits from Wu Fei's father, she agreed to help her by providing a prenuptial agreement for Wu Fei and Qin Hui. After receiving the document, Wu Fei gave it to Qin Hui, and without hesitation, he signed it to prove his seriousness to her. Because of this, Wu Fei was moved to tears. On the other hand, because Yang Hua had gathered evidence about the problematic finances of Fang Yu's company, Hua Tao became very angry and fired him. When Yang Hua returned home, he saw Qin Shi trying to cook for him, making a mess of the kitchen during the process. At that moment, she expressed her desire to deliver food to Yang Hua's office, as she usually did for him. This touched Yang Hua, and he immediately hugged her. A few days later, Li Dai represented Yiren in signing the prenuptial agreement with Fang Fang, while Qin Shi and Yang Hua went to his office to meet Hua Tao, who had fired Yang Hua, to inform him that the dismissal violated labor laws. Hearing this, Hua Tao couldn't counter Qin Shi's arguments. Yang Hua, observing this, was impressed by his wife's skill. As they were leaving the office, Yang Hua seemed displeased when they encountered Jian Yang, indicating a past issue between them. It turned out that Yang Hua had learned about finance from Jian Yang. At the same time, Wu Fei's and Qin Hui's families were seen met to discuss their wedding and agreed to arrange it as soon as possible. Back to Yang Hua and Qin Shi, walking home, they enjoyed the evening and chatted until a small dog approached them. Yang Hua picked up the dog and affectionately called Qin Shi wife, which made her happy. Soon after, they received bad news from Mei Mei, who was contemplating to do the unthinkable. Because of this, they rushed to Mei Mei's house and helped calm her down. At that moment, Mei Mei revealed that when Yu had been giving her sleeping pills, thinking they would improve her fertility because he wanted a child. Unfortunately, this endangered her life, making her very angry at Yu. As a result, Qin Shi handed over the divorce papers, and Yu, trying to accept everything, signed the documents without hesitation. After that, Yu questioned whether he was really at fault for wanting a child with Mei Mei. His words softened Mei Mei, and she immediately hugged him, reconciling. In the corner of the room, Qin Shi and Yang Hua, witnessing this, could only smile at their behavior. Not long after, at home, Qin Shi asked Yang Hua if he could love her forever, and without hesitation, he assured her that he could. Embarrassed by his words, Qin Shi accidentally fell onto the sofa, and Yang Hua quickly hugged her. On another day at the law firm, a top celebrity named Hidong Na came because she had an issue with a hotel that did not treat her well, and she also held a press conference represented by Wu Fei as the spokesperson. However, Qin Shi found this strange because Yi Hui usually did not take on such cases, and her suspicion was confirmed when she learned that Yi Hui had a specific motive, as Dong Na's husband named Hu Ping was the head of a venture company that typically invested in law firms. Because of this, Yi Hui then asked Qin Shi to invite Yang Hua to a dinner party so that he could establish a good relationship with Hu Ping. Additionally, Yi Hui asked Qin Shi to handle Dong Na's case. When Qin Shi picked up Yang Hua, she asked for his help to attend her company's dinner party. Meanwhile, Li Dai, who was Jian Yang's lawyer, was trying to find out what had happened to him after he was arrested and detained on charges of stock trading and suspected bribery. That evening, Yang Hua and Qin Shi attended the dinner party, and she appeared nervous, worrying about Yang Hua. However, he reassured her that he would be fine. Unexpectedly, Yang Hua met Xiao Tan, his former colleague from several years ago, who did not seem to have a good relationship with him. When they sat at the same table, Xiao Tan was unpleasant toward Yang Hua, prompting Yang Hua to leave the party. At the same time, Qin Shi became very worried and hurried to find him, eventually meeting him and hugging him while he cried. Because of this, Qin Shi took Yang Hua to a restaurant to cheer him up. Shortly after, Wu Fei and Qin Hui arrived at the same restaurant, and with her arrogant attitude, Wu Fei tried to belittle Yang Hua, but Qin Shi defended him. Suddenly, a waiter accidentally spilled hot soup towards Qin Shi, and Qin Hui tried to block the hot soup, injuring his hand in the process. On the way home, Yang Hua admitted that Qin Hui was a good man and said he would let Qin Shi go if she wanted to be with Qin Hui again. Fortunately, Qin Shi immediately denied this, reminding him that she was now married to Yang Hua. Meanwhile, Wu Fei kept urging Qin Hui to marry her quickly because she was jealous of Qin Shi, especially since he still showed signs of not being able to forget her. Wu Fei even intended to make Qin Shi leave the office. On another occasion, Yang Hua, while walking with Qin Shi, shared his past when he worked with Xiao Tan, who was his rival, and Jian Yang, who was his mentor. In the beginning, everything went smoothly until they suffered significant losses due to a new product launched by another company. Since Yang Hua had the most control in the company, it made him very frustrated. After learning this, Qin Shi tried to encourage her husband. Several days later, Yao Li was seen visited Yang Hua to give him a case file on Jian Yang after Li Dai had previously visited Yang Hua's parents to ask for help in freeing him. At that moment, Yao Li reminded his son that Jian Yang was still his mentor and asked Yang Hua to learn to forgive others. Sometime later, at the law firm, Qin Hui and Wu Fei met with Yao Yao, the representative from Tianhang Hotel, which was being sued by Dong Na. At that moment, Yao Yao presented photographic evidence, explaining that the incident was not as Dong Na claimed in the media, and she requested to settle the case amicably because she could present the evidence in court. After the meeting, Qin Hui and Wu Fei met with Yi Hui, and Wu Fei seemed to have a different view from Qin Hui, which made her angry with him. Shortly after, Qin Shi was surprised by the arrival of Xiao Tan, who would be temporarily joining the Cheng and Hui law firm to conduct research on Hu Ping's company, which planned to invest in the firm. At that time, Xiao Tan mentioned Yang Hua, but Qin Shi did not answer any of his personal questions. Xiao Tan then shifted the conversation to discuss what he would be doing at the law firm, where he later met with Qin Shi again and invited her to lunch, claiming it was to learn more about the law firm. Meanwhile, in prison, Yang Hua visited Jian Yang to talk, and from their conversation, it was revealed that Yang Hua's previous work failure was caused by Jian Yang. At home, when Qin Shi returned from work, Yang Hua promptly helped and pampered her by providing a foot bath for relaxation, which made her happy. Yang Hua also reminded Qin Shi to be cautious around the cunning Xiao Tan, but she intended to find his weaknesses to get revenge for his past mistreatment of Yang Hua. Another day, Qin Shi went with Qin Hui to help him investigate Dong Na's case at the hotel as a thank you for his past kindness. Unfortunately, they did not find any evidence at the scene. After work, Qin Shi brought home many groceries because she wanted to cook for Yang Hua, and he enjoyed her delicious meal. They then discussed Li Dai's request for Yang Hua to help Jian Yang, where Qin Shi expressed that she would support whatever decision Yang Hua made regarding the case. The next day at the office, an angry Wu Fei confronted Qin Shi about investigating Dong Na's case, even though she was only helping Qin Hui. This led to another argument between Wu Fei and Qin Hui about their differing plans to handle Dong Na's case. Sometime later, they had a meeting with Dong Na, where Yi Hui and Qin Hui suggested resolving the case amicably. Unfortunately, Dong Na refused and insisted on suing the hotel. Additionally, she also mentioned that it was the hotel that asked her to file the lawsuit. At the same time, Xiao Tan met with Qin Shi again, trying to extract information from her about Yang Hua's job failure a few years ago. Hearing this, he explained that Yang Hua had indeed been made a scapegoat at their company. After that, Xiao Tan invited her to lunch. Initially, she refused, but after Xiao Tan mentioned his suspicion about Qin Shi's and Yang Hua's marriage, she reluctantly accepted the lunch invitation. On another occasion, Yi Hui, who was with Qin Shi, informed her about Wu Fei's malicious intent to oust her from the law firm. Because of this, Yi Hui suggested that Qin Shi should lose to Wu Fei by persuading Hu Ping to invest in their law firm. Therefore, Qin Shi needed to get close to Xiao Tan, Hu Ping's right-hand man, to achieve this. One morning, Qin Shi was seen helping Yang Hua get ready to go to court to testify in Jian Yang's case. With his testimony, Jian Yang's trial proceeded smoothly. Unfortunately, Dong Na's case, which was also being tried on the same day, put Yao Yao in a difficult position, causing her to try to avoid reporters who wanted to interview her. Fortunately, Li Dai and Yang Hua helped her get away from the courthouse. In the car, Yao Yao, who had known Yang Hua in the past, reminisced about their time together. Meanwhile, Qin Shi finally met Xiao Tan at a restaurant and subtly flirted with him to coax out some information. Xiao Tan, who liked her, tried to persuade her to go out with him. Shortly after, Qin Shi returned to the office, recalling Xiao Tan's words about Yang Hua's first love, Jian Yang's daughter, whom he almost married, making her very jealous. In the evening, while Qin Shi attended a Cheng and Hui law firm event, she received information from Li Dai that Yang Hua had helped Yao Yao and knew her well, even showing concern for her. Who was in trouble? Sometime later, Qin Shi was surprised when Xiao Tan approached her. Unbeknownst to them, someone took a photo of their close interaction and sent it to Yang Hua. Apparently, Qin Shi behaved this way because she wanted Xiao Tan to divulge important information to her. At the same time, Jun Hui also saw Qin Shi and Xiao Tan getting close in the room. While Yang Hua, who received the photo of Qin Shi and Xiao Tan, rushed to meet her. At that moment, Jun Hui was angry with Qin Shi for getting close to Xiao Tan even though it was for work. He also revealed that he knew about Qin Shi's fake marriage with Yang Hua. Hearing this, she asked him to keep it a secret from others and explained her reasons for doing so. When Yang Hua arrived at the law firm, he immediately asked Qin Shi to go home with him. At home, during dinner, Qin Shi asked Yang Hua about Yao Yao, but he only said that she was a school friend, not revealing that she was his ex-girlfriend. However, Qin Shi felt that Yang Hua was hiding something, which made her upset and jealous. The next day, Yi Hui assigned Qin Shi to go with Xiao Tan, and Jun Hui, knowing this, was very worried and tried to stop her from going, but she ignored him. Yang Hua, who also knew about it, hurriedly left with Kai Liang to follow her. When Jun Hui called Yang Hua to inform him about Qin Shi, he pretended not to be concerned about her. Meanwhile, Qin Shi and Xiao Tan arrived at a luxurious house, and he began to flirt with her, but she cleverly refused and managed to get him to produce an important company report. Shortly after, Jun Hui arrived at the house and rushed in to save Qin Shi, only to be shocked to see Dong Na with Xiao Tan. Because of this, Hu Ping found out about the affair between Dong Na and Xiao Tan. It turned out that Qin Shi had planned this to trap Xiao Tan and Dong Na. After the incident, Qin Shi thanked Jun Hui for worrying about her, and he hugged her, reminding her not to do anything dangerous. At her house, Wu Fei looked sad because Jun Hui had lied to her, even though she knew he was rescuing Qin Shi that night. Meanwhile, when Qin Shi arrived home, she was shocked to see Yang Hua's forehead injured, and she hugged him while thinking that he was not worried about her. Yang Hua then explained that he did not come to rescue her because he believed that Qin Shi was a strong, intelligent, and independent woman, in line with her principles. On the other hand, Yao Yao met with Ying, her manager, who praised her and offered a reward for her hard work in saving Tianheng Hotel. However, she refused it because the hotel had scapegoated her in court, leading her to decide to resign. The next day, at the law firm, Qin Shi received a reward for her hard work, including a luxury car and a credit card. She also found out that Yang Hua had previously been in an accident while trying to help her and, despite his injury, had met with Yi Hui and Jin Cheng to provide evidence of Xiao Tan's crimes. Meanwhile, when Yang Hua was with Kai Liang, Qin Shi suddenly approached them and gave her debit card to Kai Liang to repair the damage to the car from the accident. Qin Shi then said she knew that Yang Hua had gone to rescue her, so she kissed and hugged him. Moments later, the three of them ate together, and Yang Hua gave Qin Shi a gift, which made her very happy. The couple then displayed their affection in front of Kai Liang, who just smiled at their behavior. Sometime later, at the law firm, Qin Shi received another important case from Tianheng Hotel, where she asked Jun Hui for help to collaborate on the case. Wu Fei, seeing this, became very angry, especially when she found out that Qin Shi was contacting Jun Hui. Therefore, she demanded that he leave the law firm. Shortly after, Jun Hui met with Qin Shi to refuse the collaboration, but when Qin Shi got angry and kicked him, he eventually agreed. Apparently, she expressed her desire to become a partner lawyer so she could change the rules that she believed were unreasonable for female lawyers. On the other hand, Yao Yao was seen rejected all the offers from Ying to return to work at the hotel because she did not want to be exploited by the hotel, especially knowing that he had cornered her in court. Therefore, Qin Shi and Jun Hui, as Ying's lawyers, devised a strategy to get Yao Yao to accept the offer. Sometime later, Qin Shi and Jun Hui met with Yao Yao and tried to persuade her, but she continued to refuse the offer until she finally relented after Qin Shi explained that she could help more people if she accepted the job from Ying. That night, Yang Hua and Qin Shi visited Yi Hui's house for a dinner party with the law firm's partners. During the event, Qin Shi was promoted to a new partner lawyer, making her very happy. Meanwhile, Jun Hui was meeting with his old friends while waiting for Qin Shi. When his friend informed him that Qin Shi had arrived, He hurried to meet her but was surprised by the presence of Wu Fei, who finally realized he was waiting for Qin Shi. Because of this, Wu Fei felt sad as Qin Hui still loved Qin Shi and stated that she could not be with a man who still loved another woman, leaving him behind. Back to Qin Shi, she intended to tell Jin Cheng about her marriage, but unexpectedly, Yi Hui and Jin Cheng already knew about the lie, so Qin Shi apologized. Qin Hui then tried to meet with Wu Fei, who continued to reject him. At the same time, when Qin Shi arrived home, she was overwhelmed by what had happened, but fortunately, Yang Hua kept supporting and encouraging her. The next morning, Qin Shi woke up to find a note from Yang Hua that made her smile. That day, with great courage, she met with Yi Hui, and Qin Shi was given a chance to make amends by stepping down to an assistant lawyer position. Li Dai, who found out about this, called Qin Shi and laughed at her. After that, Qin Shi met with Qin Hui to discuss the Ying and Yao Yao case, which had been fully handed over to Qin Hui. Soon after, Qin Shi called Yang Hua, and knowing that she was not okay, he tried to cheer her up. At that moment, Yang Hua also informed her that Hu Ping would be joining a major project, which he believed was not worthwhile. At the law firm, Qin Shi's desk was now aligned with the other assistant lawyers, and she performed various tasks as an assistant, including serving drinks to the lawyers. Wu Fei, seeing this, tried to belittle Qin Shi, but she retorted by saying that Wu Fei got her position because of her father's help, not through her own hard work, which made Wu Fei angry enough to resign from the law firm. At the same time, Hu Ping contacted Yang Hua because he was interested in the financial analysis that Yang Hua had provided him. Meanwhile, the lawyers from Cheng and Hui law firm were gathering with their clients, and Qin Hui ended up drinking too much and getting drunk. At that time, Li Dai called Qin Shi again to discuss a case they were working on and informed her that Yao Yao had a son. When Qin Shi left the party, she saw Qin Hui drunk and sitting on the floor, so she intended to take him to his home. Unfortunately, when she asked for his address, Qin Hui gave her address instead. Not knowing what to do, she stopped by the roadside and called Yang Hua for help. Suddenly, Qin Hui held Qin Shi's hand tightly, asking for a second chance for them to be together and get married, even hugging her. From a distance, Yang Hua secretly watched and listened as Qin Shi explained that she could not be with Qin Hui because she was married and would not divorce, even though her marriage was just a lie. At that moment, Yang Hua approached them and asked Qin Shi to go home with him. Once home, Qin Shi explained what happened between her and Qin Hui, and Yang Hua seemed unbothered by it. However, when he asked if Qin Shi loved him, she did not answer, prompting him to take out the prenuptial agreement they had made. Yang Hua then pointed out that Qin Shi's actions had violated Article 1, and he said he wanted a divorce. Qin Shi, hearing this, immediately hugged Yang Hua, trying to ensure he wasn't serious, but Yang Hua insisted he was serious about the divorce, leaving Qin Shi disappointed with his decision. The next morning, Qin Shi was cold towards Yang Hua, but while in the car, she regretted not apologizing and admitting that she loved him to prevent the divorce. At the office, Qin Hui received praise from Jin Cheng for his achievements. Meanwhile, Qin Shi met with Yi Hui, who gave her a case that the firm typically did not handle, but she had to accept it in exchange for being reinstated as a partner lawyer. On the other hand, Cao Yang was surprised to learn that Yang Hua was offered a job by Hu Ping as a financial consultant. Unfortunately, Yang Hua seemed unenthusiastic due to his divorce. As a result of the divorce, Yang Hua left the house, leaving Qin Shi alone. At that moment, she could only gaze into his room, where she found a code she didn't understand in some of Yang Hua's books. On another occasion, Qin Shi met with Yao Yao and Li Dai as the lawyers for Tianheng Hotel, delivering a message from Ying requesting compensation from Yao Yao, which made her upset because the case was not her fault. Shortly after, Li Dai met with Yang Hua and asked him to make Qin Shi realize she was siding with the wrong party in Yao Yao's case, but he refused because of his strained relationship with her. Yang Hua then went to the library, and when he saw a woman serving drinks to her boyfriend, he thought of Qin Shi. A few days later, Yang Hua met with Li Dai again because he finally agreed to help with the case Qin Shi was handling. During this time, he met a little boy named Sunny, who helped Yang Hua when he was mistakenly thought to have hit another child. Unexpectedly, Sunny was Yao Yao's son, who then approached them. Meanwhile, Wen Yu was surprised and moved when Mei Mei announced her pregnancy. Back with Yao Yao, she met with Li Dai and Yang Hua to discuss her case. Qin Shi, who was with Qin Hui, was also exchanging thoughts about the problems she was facing. Shortly afterward, Li Dai called her to inform her that Yao Yao had a son who might be Yang Hua's. Hearing this, Qin Shi felt jealous and upset, especially after Li Dai said that Yang Hua and Yao Yao made a great couple. When Qin Shi looked at a photo of herself with Yang Hua, she recalled her beautiful memories with him. At that moment, Mei Mei suddenly contacted Qin Shi and Yang Hua because when you hadn't come home. Consequently, Yang Hua met Qin Shi at Mei Mei's house. After searching, they finally found Wen Yu in a hotel room near a nightclub, and Mei Mei was devastated to see her husband cheating on her while she was pregnant. Since it was late, Yang Hua drove Qin Shi home, and upon arrival, they both felt very awkward. At that moment, Yang Hua finally understood why Qin Shi had previously been reluctant to marry due to the many problems that could arise in a marriage. After that, he left Qin Shi, making her very sad. The next day, Qin Shi went to see Yao Yao to ask her to withdraw her lawsuit. Moreover, Qin Shi threatened Yao Yao, saying that Yang Hua belonged to her, and if she tried to take him, she would not stand by idly. After Qin Shi left, Yang Hua, who was at Yao Yao's house, came out of the room and heard everything she had said. Meanwhile, Wen Yu secretly returned home, but he was shocked to find that Mei Mei had left, making him panic and immediately contact Qin Shi. When Qin Shi arrived, he explained that he had been set up to sleep with another woman. Unfortunately, Mei Mei had lost her patience with Wen Yu and decided to be alone for a while. A few days later, Qin Shi decided not to handle Ying's case because he was a harasser. Li Dai then called her after Qin Shi requested to withdraw Yao Yao's lawsuit against Tianheng Hotel. Because of this, Qin Shi was assigned to handle the case against Ying, but since she refused, Yi Hui expelled her from the law firm. As she was leaving the office, Qin Shi met Bianjing, and she immediately expressed her guilt about leaving Cheng and Hui law firm, but Bianjing did not blame her at all. After Qin Shi left, Li Dai struggled to find witnesses for Ying's actions because he had learned about her plan. Meanwhile, Jun Hui met with Qin Shi to inform her that she could return to the office because he had discussed it with Jin Cheng. During their conversation, Qin Shi suddenly felt itchy from eating something that caused an allergic reaction, so Jun Hui quickly took her to get medicine from her car. At that moment, Jun Hui found Qin Shi's divorce certificate while getting a drink from the car's glove compartment. This prompted him to ask her to marry him again, but she refused, especially since he was engaged to Wu Fei and was about to get married. On the way home, Qin Shi missed Yang Hua and kept reminiscing about their memories together. When she finally arrived home, she was quite surprised to find her house tidy and food prepared, thinking that Shaoli had done it. The next morning, Gang Zi, a lawyer at Cheng and Hui law firm, brought a victim of Ying, so Li Dai, Yao Yao, and Qin Shi immediately assisted the victim. At that moment, Qin Shi was curious about how Gang Zi could help their case, and it turned out to be with the help of Yang Hua. Li Dai, aware of this, tried to tease Qin Shi by saying that Yang Hua did it to help Yao Yao, which made Qin Shi jealous and upset with her comment. Shortly afterward, they received good news that Ying had been reassigned by the hotel, but Qin Shi insisted on continuing the case. At night, they celebrated their success with dinner and drinks. Li Dai teased Qin Shi again, saying that Qin Shi was willing to give up her job to help Yao Yao, her love rival. Shortly after, when Gangzi received a call from Yang Hua, Qin Shi took his phone and asked Yang Hua whom he would choose between her and Yao Yao, but Yang Hua did not answer. Not long after, Li Dai was shocked to learn that Yao Yao and Yang Hua were going to Australia together because he had divorced Qin Shi. When Li Dai informed this, Qin Shi calmly said that Yang Hua would not go with Yao Yao. However, unexpectedly, Qin Shi saw him picking up Yao Yao, leaving her speechless. On the other hand, Yao Yao, who was walking with Yang Hua, felt sure that he really liked Qin Shi, and he admitted it. At the same time, Qin Shi tried to catch up with Yang Hua, but he had already gotten into a taxi, leaving Qin Shi heartbroken and crying in the rain. At that moment, Wenbin picked her up out of concern, and Qin Shi finally cried in her older brother's arms, while Wen Yu also showed up to make sure she was okay. The next morning, when Qin Shi woke up, she saw both her older brothers still at her house, with Wenbin having prepared breakfast for her. Wen Yu, however, accidentally knocked over a plant that had been given by Yang Hua, and Qin Shi seemed very fond of it. Additionally, Shaoli also visited, bringing food, and Qin Shi, who initially thought her mother was the one who cleaned the house and cooked, finally learned that it was all done by Yang Hua. After that, Qin Shi's parents finally revealed that they knew about her divorce because Yang Hua had informed them earlier. Hearing her parents talk about Yang Hua's feelings for her, Qin Shi realized her own feelings for him and did not want to lose him. Therefore, she hurriedly went to the airport because that day was his scheduled flight to Australia. At the airport, Qin Shi could not find Yang Hua, who did not actually leave with Yao Yao. The closeness they had shown was intended to make Qin Shi confess her feelings for Yang Hua. Sometime later, Qin Shi went to Cheng and Hui law firm and was warmly welcomed by Yi Hui and Jin Cheng, who asked her to rejoin them. However, she declined the offer and chose to propose a collaboration on the next case. Without hesitation, they both agreed. At the same time, Wu Fei, who met with Jun Hui, had the goodwill to work with him again as his legal assistant. Meanwhile, Wen Yu rushed off after receiving news that Mei Mei had given birth to their first child. At that moment, they looked very happy with the arrival of their baby. At the end of the series, Qin Shi returned home, surprised to see some people moving things into her house, and she also saw a turtle in front of her door. At the same time, Yang Hua appeared in front of Qin Shi, and they hugged to ease their longing. Their relationship resumed on a good note, and Yang Hua explained that the code she had once found was actually the stock code representing the date of their wedding. Moral lesson from the story: don't try to flirt your way to success unless you're prepared to end up with a turtle at your door. Sometimes, the most elaborate plans to outsmart others will only get you hugged by surprise stock codes.